What's up, guys? We are back. Anthony and Jimmy, Fitness Profit Multiplier here. Today, we're going to be discussing 3 steps to more freedom in your fitness business. Again, we talk about profit on this, profit. But sometimes profit isn't always money. Profit is also time. You can't buy time back, unfortunately. And regardless of how we like it or not, time clicks no matter what we do. So having more freedom in your business and in your life to do other things is also a form of profit. So how do you get more freedom? I mean, at this point now, I don't train any sessions. I have 1 or 2 clients that I choose to do because I actually like training them. They're actually like good friends at this point now. I've been training them for over like 7 years at this point. So they're kind of like family friends. But I enjoy training them. So I go in and I train them. But as far as like training sessions, I do 0 in my facility. I'm pretty much away from the day-to-day, and I basically sit in the marketing seat at this point, and my job is just to drive the boat, the fishing boat, to where all the fish are, and then my team goes out, casts the net, reels them in, baits up the hooks, and throws them in, and does what they have to do once they get the fish in the boat. So that is ultimately the best place to be, because that time freedom. I went away on vacation for over a week 2 weeks ago, last week, whatever it was. And I came back, everything was good. We've signed clients up during that time. So that's ultimately the best place to be in your business. But how do you get there? What are these 3 steps that we need to talk about? And Jimmy, I didn't let you talk yet. So go ahead, man. I don't want you to get upset.
Don't want me to get upset. Yeah, I get a little, you won't like me when I'm angry kind of thing. I get a little green,
So go ahead, man. Talk about your freedom in your business, because I don't really. You like to dabble, so I don't know what you do anymore in a day.
I like to dabble. Yeah. My schedule right now is actually pretty similar to Anthony's at this point, right? Hadn't always been that way, but I probably, I'm on service at my facility maybe 5 hours a week, right? That, like Anthony, right? I have a one-on-one client who I've been training for probably 3 years now, and he trains with me 4 or 5 days a week, so full hours. So it's like I continue to train him. We have some good business conversations, so because he's a pretty successful guy himself, so it's nice for me to kind of get that input here and there. And then I do a little bit here and there of like corrective exercise work and things like that, because I'm really into it, and it just gets me going. So when I have an opportunity to go in and help somebody with that, I do that because I love it, right? But other than that, I'm probably providing service 5-6 hours a week. And then meetings with my staff are another maybe 4 total. We have 2 full all team meetings, and then individual meetings with my team, with each team member. So we're probably talking about 10 hours a week or so that I'm actually working in my facility on my business, or in my business, right? And meeting with your staff could kind of be related to working on your business and in it. It's kind of like a little bit of a gray line there. But then, other than that, I'm working on the marketing side, I'm working on vision, I'm working on helping my staff with different things as they need it, scripting things and talking about how they want to talk to people, training them up, right? And that is the place that you have to get to. And the real first thing we want to talk about in terms of the things that you need to be doing to create freedom is delegating, right? Delegating is how you get there. And one of our business coaches, and previously Anthony and I, where we met actually, he had this one line that I really liked, right? And it was, you need to know when you're delegating or when you're abdicating a task, right? And the importance of delegation is not to say, hey, you do this and have no training involved, right? It's, hey, I need you to do this task. Let's walk through it together as to how this task is going to be completed, how I want it to be completed. And then You're there with them as they're doing it the first couple times to make sure they're doing it to your standard. And you check in here and there to make sure it's being done to your standard, right? This isn't micromanagement. This isn't micromanagement. This is the delegation of the task to train somebody up to do it. Now, you may be sitting there and thinking, oh, it's going to take me so long to train this person. So much easier for me to just do it, right? Because in the beginning, it's like, I'll just do it. I'll just do it. I'll just do it, right? And what you have to do is get away from that notion of I will just do it because it's faster, because it's actually faster in the long run and provides you with more freedom to give somebody that task, and it's done more efficiently because you're not running around doing all these things. You're having one person that is responsible for one task, and you can hold them accountable to it and make sure that that process is improving through them, not just you running around like a chicken with your head cut off, putting somebody in your client management software, calling a lead, training a session, back forth, making a poster, right? All these different things, somebody else needs to do it so that you can hold them accountable and make sure that they're doing it properly. So the first thing is delegation, not abdication. Don't just give somebody something and say, you own this now. Say, I'm gonna walk you through how I want you to do this, and we're gonna have check-ins on it. That's number one, is delegating to your team, right?
Yeah, I was going to say there's 3 steps to this. And really, number one, what Jimmy's talking about is delegation. And he's 100% correct. But in order to delegate, you have to have standard operating procedures, or SOPs. You have to have a system in place of how things are done, because like Jimmy said, you can't just tell somebody to do it with no formal training. But if you have this actual structure written out, you walk into the gym, you turn the lights on, and you go over, you check the temperature, you put the air conditioner on, you walk over to the radio, you push the power, you turn the volume to volume 25, you put this station on, then you go in the back and you do this. Like, that's a standard operating procedure. That's how we run something, right? So for example, if we have an organic marketing strategy that we run, okay, you're going to post these reels. Okay, the first thing you do is you go into the folder with the reels, you pull the reel out that you're going to use, you edit the reel, you do this, you post it with this, you put this hashtag with that. That's standard operating procedure. None of that happens on accident. And the more you could define exactly what to do, one of the thoughts that I always have is when I create something for the gym or a standard operating procedure for something to be running is, can my 8-year-old daughter do this task? Can my 8-year-old daughter click open on what she's supposed to be doing? Okay, she's going to run my social media for me. Can she click this procedure, read through it, and go through it? And you need to make it as simple as possible. So I'm going to run through the 3 steps and then we'll talk about them. So step number 1, in order to get more freedom in your business, is, like we said, to have those standard operating procedures in place. That's the first thing. You need to have them for everything. If you want to have a good training session, it has to be specified how it gets done. What does the trainer do? We have our 7 core steps, our 7 rules for training. So the person comes in, we greet them by name within 10 seconds of them walking in. We move them over to their spot. We introduce them to the next person, and so on and so forth. We can talk about that in another episode. But again, standard operating procedure. Every trainer does it. This is how it works. The second step is you need to have good people in place in order to have freedom. So again, it comes back to what we talked about in other episodes with hiring rock star coaches. If you have a salesperson who is subpar, you're going to be stepping in more times than you actually need to be. And there are going to be times where you have to step back into certain roles because maybe the person running it needs a little refresher on how it should be done, or maybe they're not hitting goal. So you need to step in sometimes and kind of adjust, but you got to have good people in place. And you can't just put someone, and I'll use a sales role example, you can't put anyone into a sales role. So if you have a trainer who's a phenomenal trainer and you want to give them more money and you want to give them more opportunity, but they really don't care to sell, but you stick them in that sales role, you're going to end up jumping back into that role because that person doesn't want. So that's the second step. And the third step is, and I think it's the most important, keep it simple. You have to keep everything that you're trying to do, every procedure, everything has to be as simple as possible. If there's a lot of steps to do something, there's going to be a lot of steps where they could mess up and confuse things. So you got to try to make everything as simple as possible. Make it repeatable, make it easy. Like, for example, our training programs are templated. Templates are there. Trainer literally just has to pick up the template and follow the template. If they need to make an adjustment, that's where the training skill comes in, but it's templated. The trainer will never walk in our facility and be confused on what they have to be doing for the day. It's right there. So they can see it, they can understand what it is. So you always got to try to simplify that as much as you can, because if it's too complex, it's never going to work.
Nope.
And that was my rant.
Podcast
over. Podcast over.
Didn't you get some of those templates? Did you get some of those templates from us?
Which ones?
The training templates?
I haven't opened them. So it's actually really, really funny. So I had asked Jimmy for them a while ago. He shared me his folder. So I just took all the workouts out and I added them to my own folder. And then I just forgot I did that. Jimmy texted me one day. He's like, did you delete all of our training templates? I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? I didn't even know what you were talking about. I forgot that you actually did it to me. So I put them all back and Jimmy was able to train his clients again. But yeah.
Yeah. So our SOP, right? We have, just like Anthony was talking about, we have standard operating procedures. In this moment, my manager looks at me and she goes, all of our training templates are gone. And I'm like, what do you mean they're gone? And she's like, they're gone. We can't like pull them up. And I'm trying to show this other staff member how to write a program for this person, pulling up our templates, following our SOP, right? And then, so I had to step in to give Anthony a call and say, what the heck? But
I thought I had copied them over.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that I actually dragged them out. And that was
they were gone.
I felt so guilty. I'm like, oh my God, what did I do? Like, I really felt so bad because I didn't even see Jimmy's text right away either. So it was like even worse.
Yeah. Like,
but anyway, neither here nor there. Jimmy corrects my my grammar all the time, so it's payback.
So you have to look at these processes and SOPs. And one of the things that some people get stuck with is they go, well, we don't have an SOP for this or that or the other thing. We got to build them all right now. You don't. What you have to do is you have to build an SOP generally for the things that you know, right? So all the tasks that you do in a day, every single thing, how you start, you just chart every single thing by the half hour, right? What I do for this half hour, what I do for this half hour, da, 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 da. Okay, so you have all the tasks, right? How did I do it? Okay, I did this, I did this, I did this, I did this, right? That's where you start. Then you have a general skeleton, right? Once you have that general skeleton, as things come up in your business, you instruct your staff, something comes up and they bring something to you. And then you say, how would you handle it? Right? What would the solution be? And they go, well, maybe this, maybe that. And then you have some input and then you go, okay, add it to the living SOP document. Yep. Right? Then your manager takes and makes it more formal and puts it into the master, right? So as things go in your business, you have a staff working for you. If you're just by yourself, you got to do all this yourself and write it out and get something together that's decent, right? But the cool thing about the SOP is it's a living document that your staff can continue to make better over time, because you're always going to have to do that. You're never going to find the promised land and be like, oh, everything just operates and it's all fine. Somebody needs to be in there. It doesn't have to be you, but somebody needs to be in there making things more efficient as things move. Because as your business grows, there's more efficiencies that are needed, right? And so just the other day, we were having a conversation about like, how do we respond to clients in terms of like their freeze requests, right? And if they don't give us a start and end date on the freeze, then the freeze doesn't get put in the CRM or the billing software, and then they don't get the freeze, and then the client's upset and the staff is upset because they're like, well, I'm trying to follow protocol and this and that. So, we set up a standard email flow that's like, okay, if they don't give you a start and end date, then you start their freeze when they get back to you. If they don't get back to you from the initial email back, 48 hours later, you email them again, 24 hours later, you email them again. And it's just this process that we put together to make sure that it gets done and the client is communicated with properly and they understand the expectations. Most of the time people get upset expectations are not set, or expectations, if expectations are not set, they have their own expectations, or expectations are not met, right? That's why. So setting expectations is important, especially with your staff and the SOP and what's supposed to be going on with them, because the SOP allows you to set expectations with your staff too. And when they ask you a question, you can say, 1, did you check the SOP? 2, what would you do? Then
so my question to you is, because again, there's so many different, like, not schools of thought, but like, you know, you're taught these things. Somebody told us that we should have like a book and everything should be in the book. I hate the book. What do you guys use? Do you have a book?
No, we don't have a book. We have a living document on our Google Drive that is probably, I don't know, my team will probably correct me if I'm wrong here, but it's probably like 25 pages, right? And we just have, it's kind of like a book, but it's not a book that actually lives in our facility that somebody goes through, right? It's a living document that they can hit, and they can hit a link in the table of contents, boom, they move down to like that section, and then they read through it as to what they need to get. So what is it that you guys do? I mean, I guess it's kind of a book, but it's like a living Google Doc that gets modified over time.
So the way I have it structured is everybody gets their own kind of like itemized agenda for their task, right? So trainers, not so much, because their standard operating procedures is basically following our core tenets, unless they have something to do on the outside of it. If they're doing nutrition coaching, then there's a whole document that they follow on that. So, but from our management is where they really kind of see those things, because they're the ones who are going to be handling like the freezes and all that other stuff. The trainers don't need to know about that. They just, all they're told, our trainers, is if somebody has a request to freeze or something with their membership, they just say, okay, please direct it to Laura. She'll take care of all of it. That's kind of like that's what they do.
Yeah.
Bottom line. So for us, we have a living document also that basically the checklist. I like to do checklists for my management and myself, because it allows me to go through what are my tasks for the day. This, and every task item basically is clickable. So you click each task item, and it opens up the procedure for everything. So for example, you know, post a reel. I click into it, and it tells me exactly how to post a reel for the gym and where that document is and what the social media post is. You know, our lead sheet, what has to be done with the lead sheet every day. Okay, call 10 people from the lead sheet. They click right into it. The lead sheet opens up, and they can figure out right there who they're calling. So it's like, you know, everything that they need to do. And then as far as like managerial stuff, you know, freeze requests, we have a whole, like, they basically on her checklist that she has okay, freeze, someone wants a freeze, I click freeze, and this is how I freeze somebody. So it's pretty similar, but I think it's more neater the way I guess it's the same thing. I just hate having having the idea of, I hate the idea of having just like one book. I hate that idea. I like to see it visually, and it's whatever works. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
as long as you guys have it.
You can give that specific trainer like the checklist that they need to be doing in that regard. You know, ours is a little more one document, so it's like you just go there if you need an answer to something, and you can find it in a similar way, because you can make them clickable so that you can kind of go to the section that you need and that kind of thing. So it's very similar. It's just you know, Anthony has compartmentalized it a little more so that it's like more this one client, or this one staff member, like, okay, their tasks are X, and they have everything that they need to complete those tasks. So it takes out a little bit of the guesswork the way that Anthony does it. We may talk outside the podcast and make my system a little more efficient with that. No, we steal stuff from each other all the time on these podcasts, because we just start.
Yeah, well, that's the goal. That's the goal. Is this is what's going to happen, guys. I'm in New York. Jimmy's in Washington. You know, in Seattle. So what we're going to do is we're going to build up empires on each side of the continent, and then we're just going to meet in the middle and have one big gym, and it's going to be combined of both of ours, and we're going to run it from one side of the country and the other side of the country. So this way, we've literally hit the entire country. That's the goal. But guys, that's it. 3 steps to freedom. Standard operating procedures must be in place. 2, you have to have rock stars in place to help you facilitate on those standard operating procedures for every role in your place. And the third thing is, you got to try to make every system that you have as simple as possible, because if it's complex, it's going to fall apart and break, and then you're going to have to refix it anyway. So That's the key. More freedom in your business, more profit to you. If you're interested in learning to take your business to that next level, just click that link below in the description, and you'll find where you can book your free no sales discovery call, where you can hop on the phone with one of us and we can literally go through your business, figure out what we need to do to take you to that next level. So take advantage of that. Again, no sales, free call. Click that link, Anthony and Jimmy, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.